All right, welcome back, everyone. Sorry, we had some slight technical difficulties there getting the stream up. We are back. We have the bands in, and we have the opening pick from the United States, T1G. It's Double Time 2.
It's an interesting starting point. I don't know that I would expect this to be a map that anyone would be like the most comfortable with. So this week's DT2 is a very, very old map. I want to say it's from 2009. Very uncomfortable, kind of has that older style of uncomfortable stream patterns and some kind of hex grid mapping. This is a throwback, and this is, I suppose if you're the USA, you've got some players who really enjoy the older maps, right? You've got Bashi coming in, you've got Fancy Lad, Utami, who are really good at these types of things. So I think a reasonable, if you're looking at it holistically, surprising to see this as a first pick regardless, but a reasonable pick in the United States' favor. I definitely think this is going to be one that they'll be pretty confident in winning.
Well, here we go. Opening pick of the match, United States on to Double Time 2. It's Bashi Man, Utami, Fancy Lad, and Rectagon against Mr. Potato, TYTY, Sip, and Painted Koala for Israel. An early miss for Mr. Potato.
It's interesting because TYTY I don't think he was present for qualifiers. He didn't play a single map, so I'm guessing he just was not there. Mr. Potato, Painted Koala, and Sip were three of the main performers in the qualifiers for Israel, although unfortunately Potato and Painted Koala both breaking early on. They get joined by Fancy Lad, but USA just going to be out to an early lead on this and going to see how long they can hold on to a few FCs in the early goings.
Yeah, a couple very early breaks there from Israel, but that trade from the United States, that double miss from Bashi and Fancy Lad will allow Israel a chance back into it in the early going, a quarter of the way through, and they actually have a chance to flip the score lead.
Yeah, it's TYTY and Sip against Utami and Rectagon, but Mr. Potato and Painted Koala both do have longer combos than their opposite numbers. Rectagon with the next break. Wow.
Israel out in front. Hey, we've seen this with the United States before against a 32nd seed. But Mr. Potato is going to find a miss from Israel, so that'll be putting the brakes on the train as TYTY also goes down for Israel, so that's big. Only Sip and Painted Koala remaining for them.
Yeah, that lead went up to 100k, though. The score gap was going towards the Israel side, in a decent manner. Kind of coming through this middle third of the map, the scores start to really get bigger and bigger. There goes Fancy Lad. It's got to be Sip holding, though. That FC matching Utami is Painted Koala. Oh. And that's right at halfway. Yeah, you don't want to miss.
That's a brutal miss, close to the last third of the map here. And it is, as you said, Utami versus Sip. But the backing combo is on the favor of the United States. But that double miss is going to change things for Bashi Man and Rectagon. Israel now have a chance to hold a gap here. Looks like it's about 50k.
Yeah, there's really no backing combo for Utami on the United States side. Mr. Potato and TYTY both holding. Oh my goodness.
Israel!
Not everybody with the 5-0 picks in Pick'ems is about to be doomed on the first map of the match.
And Utami is being traded by Sip in Israel. We're gonna do it. Sip goes down. No FC. But is there enough time for Utami? I don't know. Coming into the closing sections of the map, can they steal it back from the Israelites? They cannot. Israel break point. 1-0. Pick'ems destroyed.
Oh my god. All right. If you saw that coming, you're a prophet, I guess. United States drops their first pick as the 1 seed versus the 32nd seed Israel.
And Mr. Potato states in the chat, we got a point, that's all we need. Look at that mindset.
I mean,
Israel has already won in their mind.
You come into this match and you're just hoping for the best because obviously you're the biggest underdogs possible if you're Israel. Wow.
And Nomad won. I mean, hey, that's not a bad pick from Israel. Let's go coin flipping. Okay, Mr. Sunshine will be the opening pick from Israel. They lead 1-0, a chance to take a 2-0 lead against the number 1 seed, T1G.
If you're gonna pick anything to try to take the 2-0 lead here, it's gonna be Nomad 1. Like you said, it's always kind of a coin flippy type of map. We talk about the Nomad 1 slot being a little bit RNG because it's basically just who has better consistent aim on that given performance on that given map. And it's really easy to just one miss in the middle, and all of a sudden your 950k is 600k, and that can be the make or break.
This is not the first time the United States, being the number 1 seed, has dropped a point to a 32nd seed. They did so against Turkey, but the thing to note about that is Turkey won their own pick when they took a point against the United States. This was a break point.
USA, I mean, they lost the 1 point against Turkey a couple years ago. They lost a point against Malaysia a couple years ago in first round. After they won 5-0 in the opening match last year, I thought maybe they'd ironed out the kinks, whatever it was that was causing them to lose picks to the 32nd seeds, because they've been the number 1 seed every year there's been qualifiers. So whatever it was that was causing them to drop points to these 32 seeds, I thought, maybe they've sorted it out, but evidently that was just not the case. And Israel, plucky underdogs, make the most of some poor performances from the United States by their standards.
And really just held combos when they needed to. That was the key difference maker there. The U.S. just were not the more consistent team on that pick. But now Israel with a chance to open things up here and make a little history. It's Nomad 1 for Israel. It's Mr. Potato, TYTY, Sip, and Painted Koala. No substitutions against Utami, Munko 2K, Taquito, and Rectagon for the United States. Just 2 substitutions there.
Yeah, this is the aim consistency roster for the USA. I think you would typically see Decathlon in for this, but of course with him not being here, Monka was a more than worthy replacement, very good aim player. Over on the Israel side, it's the roster they ran on Nomad 1 in qualifiers with TYTY coming in to replace Galog, who was actually their top scorer in qualifiers in Nomad 1, which is a little interesting to me, but we'll see how it goes for him. This is a little higher BPM than most Nomad 1s you'd see in an RO32, so we'll see how the players handle it. Shouldn't be too much trouble.
An early miss from Mr. Potato is all that separates us right now. United States with a slight lead, but as we've seen from the previous map, an early miss does not mean anything if the misses come in midway.
Yeah, and worth noting is that this is the longest map in the pool, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So there is a ton of time for things to swing back and forth. There's several sections of the map where, your aim consistency really gets called into play. Obviously, there's a little bit of free combo just because there always will be in a song that fits in Nomad 1, but any of those multiple aim sections kind of in the key eye times are going to be places where anyone can miss just because that's what happens on these slots.
Yeah, it's about a 30-40K lead here for the United States. Not a major deficit, but they hold it over a quarter of the way in. Sip is going to be finding a drop there, just a slight miss aim, and that is going to start to open things up a little bit more.
That's the sort of place, like I was talking about, you get those slight increases in spacing in the jumps, and you just under-aim ever so slightly, and there you are, your combo's gone, and you're 600 combo behind all of a sudden, and the United States is able to make an 80K lead out of it like it's nothing.
Yep. Now already approaching 100K, but still over 2 minutes, nearly 3 minutes remaining. It's quite a lengthy map.
Yeah, looking at the accuracy, United States feeling pretty confident. You can tell they've only dropped a total of, I think, 2 100s versus, 98 on Sip, below 99 on TYTY. So it's going to help just a little bit more. Every bit counts when there's not a lot in the map.
Halfway mark here, so we're going to pay attention for some misses here. They could be detrimental, but one thing to note is that Mr. Potato's miss was very early, so Israel are essentially rocking 2 3/4 full combos here.
Yeah, he's less than 100 combo behind the FCs. So, like you said, really not the worst case scenario on that miss. It's the Sip miss that's the one that really does matter, and that's miss from TYTY. And again, a break at the exact halfway mark, especially on a Nomad 1, is extremely damaging.
Yeah, because it's not likely that we're going to see any misses come out here unless it's in the key eye in the latter half. And now Israel are basically going to need the United States to fall apart here to lose this deficit. Still possible, but they will need to see something soon as the U.S. are still 4-way.
Yeah, I mean, any break can still swing this, but it really has to be quick. There's Utami. It's traded.
Yeah, but TYTY just missed earlier, so it's not as bad. And Munko's going to drop again. Taquito drops. Rectagon's the only one left. Here comes Israel. Wait. They're going to have to hold out. Yeah,
there's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And this is why Nomad 1 is that really volatile slot, because you can break just like that at the 2/3, 3/4 of the way mark with a huge lead, and all of a sudden it's comebackable if your opponents are holding on to big combos or FCs, and you've got Painted Koala matching Rectagon plus Mr. Potato on that near full combo.
And Sip supporting.
It's 200K, it's coming back slowly, but there should be enough time for Israel here.
There just may be enough time. Takedo finding another miss. That's going to speed things up a little bit. Now it is definitely doable. Takedo chain missing now. Rectagon is the only hope here for the Americans. Utami and Munko desperately trying to build some combo. Israel might be able to pull off another miracle, but TY misses.
It's not even, no, he's not the important one, though. It's Pain and Koala on the FC, Mr. Potato on the near FC, Sip on a 1K combo. It's about to go over.
It's going to get close.
3K, it's dropping.
Israel for the steal, for the 2-0 lead on the number 1 seed. They've got it. Israel, Sip drops. That's not the one that matters. Israel just needs to hold. And they have done the work. 2-0. Wait, no.
It is.
Now it is 2-0 by 15K to Israel. The comeback.
I'm speechless.
Okay, now for sure, there's no way anyone's pick'em for this match is left intact.
Yeah, it's gone. Anybody,
it's 100% gone.
It's done. I mean, this is why you pick Nomad 1 as a lower seed into a higher seed. That is the reason. That displayed everything about that sort of pick that makes it winnable for a lower seeded team to upset. Israel just held the combos longer and avoided those crucial late breaks. Rectagon had an SS and it didn't even matter.
It didn't matter, yeah. Just didn't matter. And, you know, we say this almost every time we talk about a huge seed disparity matchup, T1G, and that is the fact that if you're the lower seeded team, the early game, your first 2 picks are what matter the most. You have to convert something and get on the board to get some momentum. This is the dream scenario for Israel right here. They're up 2-0. US has the pick. I mean, I don't think anybody saw this situation coming from the start of the match.
Absolutely not. I mean, your best case scenario, I think, if you're the low seed here, is winning your first pick and losing your opponent's first pick, because they're probably the best picks that either team has. They got a break point and then won their own first pick. I don't remember the last time the United States dropped a break point to anyone until like the winner's final. It's just something that doesn't happen. And now they go into, honestly, USA picking free mod 2, which is the speed free mod, which is not the worst thing in the world, I don't think, for Team Israel.
Yeah, considering how they did on that opening round 1 double time pick, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. But what the US are probably banking on here is now they've got to switch something up, right? This has gotten serious. They're down 2-0 to the 32nd seed. They need to change something up, more mod flexibility to maybe change the rosters and get more players in. But what I kind of don't like about this, T1G, is that allows Israel to do the same.
I don't know how to feel about anything in this match anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard to have a feeling about this match when it started off and just the script for this match, as expected, has been flipped completely on its head.
The spreadsheets, the notes, the Google Docs, all worthless at this point. Everything we've been working on for this match, out the window. And here is the first substitution for Israel.
FXXYX.
I want to say Foxy, but...
yeah.
FX?
So he was in for DT picks in the qualifiers. He came in for DT2 and DT3, which were the tapping heavy picks. So that is a logical substitution to have them make here. Mr. Potato, Sip, again, you know, just kind of the lobby warriors staying in because they can play everything in this stage. I am also looking at TYTY. Again, did not play in qualifiers. Team squeaks by. And he plays the first 2 maps and they win both of them. And now he's in for the third as well.
I'm more concerned with how to pronounce that name.
FXXYX, yeah, that does not roll off the tongue.
I'm just gonna go with FX for now until we get. But
that's fine.
That's all we can do. Israel's got some great names for casters: Sip, TYTY, FX. Thank you, Mr. Potato, for bringing some semblance of normalcy to your team.
Whoa. USA on their own pick, overmodding to Oblivion.
And oh man, I don't know how to feel about anything anymore, man. Because this could backfire. I mean, you know, obviously the mod advantage, and if you're the US, you definitely want to overmod a little, right? You know, you want to play your skill gap some, but this is a little bold. Utami on the HDHR. Maybe they're just looking to make a statement and get some morale going back on their side, because I think that is what they need more than anything right now.
Yeah, I mean, it still feels so risky though to overmod even on an early stage pool. Like, just your margin for error drops by so much when you have you don't have that no-mod anchor player who you just know is going to put up an FC. But on a map like this where it's, CS3, so the Hard Rock isn't, it's not making it like CS 6.5 or anything. It's not anything too terrible. And when you have FXXY really struggling in the intro. And there goes TYT as well.
That was a pretty hefty drop there. Missed out a whole stream. US still looking good. Taquito is going to be the first drop for the US. They still have 3 FCs, though, to 2 on Israel's side. But this has been the story of the first 2 maps.
Yeah.
FXY still struggling. It's a lot of trades.
Taquito on the Hidden it's probably the toughest mod on this map. I think the Hidden, it's relatively dense at 230 plus BPM, and air was only 9.1. Sawada with the break as well. I mean, he's kind of, unfortunately, a little bit known for that sometimes. It happened in qualifiers, and it happens here and there for him in matches where he'll just kind of find random breaks. But FXXY Mr. Potato breaking means that USA aren't going to be uncomfortable in this map at this point.
Yeah, this is a massive score margin. Unlike the others, this is now over 400k. SIP is going to be dropping, and this is looking like the first point for the United States. Still only halfway through, though. But Israel just can't seem to hold any combo aside from TYTY.
Yeah, this map is so consistently challenging in the same way, right? It's all triples and quints with a couple of longer bursts thrown in that, like, it's a good predictor of how the rest of the map will go if somebody breaks, on those patterns early on, and that's kind of what Israel's doing. They broke early on, and they're continuing to have trouble in the same fashion. And yeah, this one's pretty well out of reach. This is what we expected from the United States. Like, this isn't even anything for them to celebrate. This is just what should have been happening this whole match, ostensibly.
Yeah, they're going to run away with this one into the final quarter. The lead cut in half, but Israel will have a chance to respond to their pick and maintain a 2-point lead if they can convert it.
Yeah, the question will become, how do you respond to this pick if you're Israel? You got the breakpoint, you got the Nomad 1, but what else kind of fits? And I think the answer is probably going to be Hard Rock 2, if I had to guess before the map has even ended at what the next one is going to be. But USA bringing this one home. Honestly, like, it's a decent score. It's not an amazing score from USA. It's good enough to win by 1.4 million in this matchup, but I don't think they should be incredibly happy about that. They didn't have a single full combo.
Definitely a rough one, but nevertheless, it's good enough to get the job done against Israel. It is 2-1.
Yeah, it gets the point on the board. It rights the ship for the 1 seed here, but that's still not a performance that they should really be pleased with. Against a team that was a little more comfortable or confident on tapping, that would not have been such a one-sided affair. But we'll see what Israel does.
Yeah, that is the question now. How will they respond? You mentioned they may try Hard Rock 2.
Yeah, and the reasoning on that is just that Hard Rock 2 was tied for their best performance in qualifiers. It was not a 6.5 in qualifiers, so it was a little different style of map, but if they do feel comfortable with that kind of precision, and it's a little bit more of a basic aim.
Ooh, Hard Rock 1.
Okay, well, still in the Hard Rock pool, I was half right.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got the mod right.
I don't know if that's really much to write home about. Hard Rock 1 is not your standard Hard Rock 1 that you would have come to expect from previous years, right? This one is not an aim map. This is pretty... It's a lot of tapping, and it's kind of tech-y. It has some tech elements to it with the slider aim and the finger control. So that makes it really interesting coming off the back of how poorly that DT3, or that DT3, Fremont 2 just went for Israel.
We do see Painted Koala coming back in for FXY on the side of Israel. Boshi Man in the lobby for the United States. Rectagon as well. They wait 2 teammates. And a relatively short Hard Rock map here, just over 2 minutes in length. So
yeah,
again, you see Israel maybe trying to pick onto the side of the shorter maps because the Americans just have not been as consistent today.
Well, that kind of goes both ways, though, right? I mean, the Nomad 1 was 4 minutes long, and it played to Israel's strengths, so the USA wasn't as consistent. So, I mean, that can go either way. This one is relatively consistent in difficulty. It's just quite short. I feel like this is kind of risky, but if you're comfortable with the pick as Israel, I mean, no reason not to go for it, I guess. You know, it's one of those where it's a team we're not as familiar with, and so their skill sets aren't ones that we're quite as familiar with.
And at this point, you're in a situation that you probably they didn't even expect to be in themselves, honestly. So if you're Israel at this point, you may just say, hey, this is the map we're the most comfortable on right now. We don't care how good the other team is. We just know this is what we can do right now. It's not a bad strategy.
No, and, you know, USA had notably Hard Rock 1 in qualifiers, they 4-wayed. It was a very different map, but they had Decaden in for that, which I guess is how his name has been pronounced, so I will be corrected on that one. And he is not here. So it forces the USA into a slightly less comfortable roster for a Hard Rock 1. Obviously, Bashi, Rectagon, Utami will be fine on this, but Fancy Lad coming in for this type of map is a little less common. So it's kind of a fill player a little bit for the USA. And if Israel knows that that's what they're going into, that could also help explain why they're picking this.
Well, here we go. Round number 4. Israel's pick, their second of the match. Fancy Lad, Bashi Man, Utami, and Erectagon for the Americans against Mr. Potato, TYTY, Sip, and Painted Koala for Israel.
And this one comes at you pretty quick and really doesn't let up. A lot of bursts and some slightly longer streams, as well as a whole bunch of slider aim. Not of the super difficult slider aim variety, but enough that it makes you sit up and take notice.
Rectagon and Utami now finding misses. 2 early misses for the Americans. Fancy Lad is also down. That's 3 combos down for the Americans. But the ACK on the side of Israel is keeping the Americans in front. They're kind of struggling here, but they will start to take advantage once the combo builds.
Yeah, that combo lead is already big enough for Israel to take the lead. I'm really shocked, honestly, at the United States' performance here. Fancy Lad breaking again, and meanwhile, it's still a 3-way FC over on Israel's side. Their accuracy is really not helping them. This could be a huge lead if they had better ACK, but
TYTY in the slow section, that is big. They still have the advantage on FCs, but they're gonna have to go back to work building those combos because the Americans are rebuilding. TYTY once again struggling in that slow section. As you said, these bursts, and it's a short map. We're already halfway through. Mr. Potato finding a miss, and now here come the Americans. Second half of the map.
This section is like really difficult with the way those bursts are mapped. They're on top of each other, those quints in these patterns, which is kind of why you saw Mr. Potato and TYTY both breaking. There goes Sip as well, so USA is just going to run away with this now. It was a really nice start for Israel on this pick, but just not able to maintain it into the last third of the map, it looks like, unfortunately.
Yeah, they kind of fell apart right at that halfway mark where you don't want to fall apart. Bashi Man, the FC is going to go down for the Americans. Utami found a miss earlier as well, but one of them is traded by Mr. Potato, and there is no combo for Israel. Running out of time. Final 8th of the map.
Yeah, USA is going to have this. Fancy Lad and Rectagon have enough combo that they'll be able to hold off Sip and Painted Koala pretty comfortably. Again, it's going to go down as a win for this pick for the United States. And as they say in golf, there's no pictures on the scorecard. But this is, again, the United States just not looking their best by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, it certainly was a rough one, but they get the job done as Israel just kind of fell apart right at the halfway mark, and that is what did them in. They had a great start, but unfortunately, it's the finish that matters. 2-2.
Yep, 2-2 and back to the United States pick. So we're back, you know, it's a 0-0, right? And now we just kind of have this best of 5.
Right.
And I believe the United States was saying that they were pre-picking DT3. I don't know. I couldn't tell for sure if that was serious, but I would expect it to be after the way FreeMud 2 went. DT3 is another higher BPM, fairly stream-heavy or tapping-heavy pick. So I think that leans into USA's strengths against Israel again. Yep, and there it is.
Double time 3 for the United States. Looking to gain their first lead of the match.
On the 5th map in the round of 32. Words that I didn't think I'd ever be saying, and yet here we are. So we go back to the classics, Senya DT. That's a really OG sort of DT artist. We used to see a lot of Senya maps, DT1, DT2, DT3, any of them, depending on the song, can fit. This one of the highest star rating maps in the pool, other than, I think, Fremod 2 with Hard Rock is the only thing higher star rating, quirk of the new star rating system. And that indicates that it's very tapping heavy at 240 BPM. It's going to be, I think, another one where USA can just kind of flex their superior mechanical muscle. We'll see how it goes. Looks like Sawada Takedo, Tommy, Rectagon, pretty standard tapping map lineup for the USA. Israel running Mr. Radio, TY2I, SIP. It was FXXY as the fourth player on the Fremod speed pick, so we'll see if he comes back in for this one, and he does.
Also, we've been told that apparently TYTY's name is pronounced Tai Tai.
Which, my brain, I mean, it kind of does. Osu players just have this habit of making their names either very strange things or unintuitive things.
We need to change registration to when you register for this World Cup, you have to type your pronunciation.
Oh my gosh, that would actually be really convenient. I mean, you know how like on NFL they do the player intros, like they say their name in the school they went to. We need Tai 5180 Israel. All right, in we go. USA looking for the first lead of the match. They better do it, because it would be scary for them if they don't.
Yep, looking for that first lead here on the Autobahn Remix Double Time 3. I'll take an early lead here. Off of accuracy. Takedo and Tommy coming away with SSs at the start, as well as FYX. Or FXY.
That guy with those letters in his name that make it difficult to pronounce.
That
and
guy
of
that
course
just
there goes Mr. Potato as well.
Yeah, the one that missed, yeah.
And there goes Tai Tai.
Yep.
All right, so we've got SIP against 4. And
not a good position for Israel.
This is how we expected this match to actually go. This is a return to normalcy for USA. A 4-way full combo against 1 FC from the other team and a 400k lead at 1/3 of the way. Like, this is expected performance.
T1G happy to see some normalcy here. But you're absolutely right. This is what everybody was anticipating coming into this. We just got an insane round 1 from both teams on their first picks. The US now dominating here on double time, as most people kind of thought.
Yeah, USA, kind of built up their speed a little bit this year, adding Sawada to the roster and bringing Rectagon after his tournament ban expired. Takedo did find that first break, yes, but still pretty comfortable. Of course, Utami, a very solid speed player as well. You lose Arison from last year, but bring in Sawada, which he's not Arison, but he can fill the shoes pretty competently on most things. He's proven that here, 99.41 AC FC.
Into the final quarter, it is only a formality now. The United States up by over 1 million points. Will most definitely be taking this one away, and they will have their first lead of the match at 3-2.
Yeah, this is going to be maybe a 4-0 score here, or at least close to it. Takedo broke at kind of an unfortunate point in the map, but it looks like they do make the 4 million mark. Rectagon with a late break, but Utami brings things home with the SS. As a player, like with a pitcher on a perfect game, you don't talk about it until it's already been done. And he accomplishes that feat. And USA looking a little bit more like themselves on that pick.
3-2 they lead. Israel now will have another pick. A chance to tie it up. Quite the performance out of Utami there. SS. We have not seen too many of those, oddly enough, this weekend.
I think we had one in Indonesia, Finland, I want to say. There was an SS, I believe.
It was Fuma, right?
I think that sounds right. I was
And I
about
think-
half awake watching that match.
I
just
think the
remember an SS.
monocle from Singapore also popped off. I think he had an SS. But anyway, back to this match. Israel. So they've got no mod 4, all of the hidden pool, and 1 double time, 1 hard rock, and 2 free mods. You have to wonder, do they go hidden? It just has not been picked.
I don't think you pick Hidden into the USA here. Qualifiers, they lost Hidden 1 to USA by 1.5 million and Hidden 2 by 1.8 million. So I'm going to say you don't pick Hidden against the USA if you're Israel. And it makes me kind of surprised the USA didn't pick it themselves. And we're going to free mod 1. So it's the Alden free mod, which is the slightly uncomfortable aim free mod pick. This is kind of akin to, it's a little more similar to the hidden one, right? Not like your comfy wide angle aim. It's got some linear jumps and such in it. I kind of would have rather seen maybe Hard Rock 2 than Free Mod 1, but you know, it's a map you can Hard Rock pretty comfortably, so not the worst case scenario. Israel just didn't look great on the prior free mod that was picked though. So it's a little surprising to see them go back into that pool when they have players who maybe aren't, you know, like not a super comfortable mod roster.
We'll have to wait and see, because they did not overmod at all on the previous free mod.
Yeah, it was bare minimum 1 hidden, 1 hard rock versus USA. Obviously, all 4 players picking at least 1 mod and Utami going hidden hard rock. Now this one, I suppose, maybe lends itself to just going 1 hidden, 1 hard rock more easily. I don't feel like that's necessarily true though. So this is going to be an interesting one. I don't really know what to expect for the mods from Israel. USA could overmod again. You can go, or you can just go, you know, Taquito hidden Recteon hard rock and have a couple of no mods on it.
So it's going to be Fancy Lad Taquito, Utami Rectagon against Mr. Potato, Tai Tai, Sip, and Pinnakoala. Israel have only made 1 substitution for, I think, 2 maps. Bringing in FXY.
It's interesting to me that Galog played all 11 maps in qualifiers, and he has not played a single map today. He is here. He joined and left before the first map started. That's very strange to see something like that happen. But obviously the roster they're running, you know, has been keeping things pretty close for the most part, other than that last map. So let's see here. What do we get? Oh, as expected. Okay. Oh, whoa. Okay. Utami's going to hidden hard rock again. Interesting.
Yeah, so we've got a hidden hard rock on top of the requirements for the United States, and just a single hard rock on top of the requirements for Israel. So it'll be a slight mod advantage for the United States, but if Utami struggles, that will put Israel up.
Yeah, the overmod, as always, feels a little risky, but it worked out the first time around for USA, so obviously not feeling too bad about keeping that up. Oh,
very early mistake for Rectagon in those little bursts.
Yeah, first 20 combo. We get into the map proper, and you kind of can see these aim patterns. They're not wide angle, they're not linear, they're somewhere in between. And there are some of those, like that back and forth linear jump you just saw. It's a lot of patterns kind of like that. So it never really lets you get super comfortable with this style of map. And honestly, I feel like that favors USA over most teams, because they typically are a roster that's very good at uncomfortable aim.
And Pinnakoala finding several misses, and another one right now at the start. So Tai Tai also going to be finding a miss. That is 2 FCs down. The Americans still rocking basically 3.5. Rectagon missed very early.
3 and 5/6. Don't check my math. I have no idea. Yeah, Tai Tai and Pinnakoala are just not having a good time. They're straight up having a rough go of things, unfortunately. Mr. Potato and Sip are keeping them alive.
Rectagon is going to go down, so that'll slow things up for the United States, but I feel like now, especially given that miss from Rectagon, it's really all on Utami, right? Because if Utami misses, that's going to be the most harmful thing for the Americans. But Tai Tai and Pinnakoala continuously struggling is going to put this one out of reach.
Yeah, it's really a tough ask to try to come back in a map when you have a player at 93 AC that's not been able to build up any combo and a player who's not super far ahead of him. It's unfortunate because Mr. Potato and Sip are playing this very, very well, holding the double FC. But when you're against a triple FC on the other side, it's just like an insurmountable obstacle in front of you.
Yeah, and they are starting to run out of time. They're going to need like a double or triple miss to come out from the Americans right now. We're getting to the final third of the map because that is over 500,000 points. They will not be able to flip it unless they get some misses.
And I just don't, even with misses, it would have to be a complete meltdown from USA at this juncture. You know, Mr. Potato and Sip, as we've been saying, like, keeping their hopes kind of alive until the point of no return. And I think, unfortunately for Israel, that point has been passed.
And now it is gone. Mr. Potato with that miss is going to definitely seal it.
So, USA, they actually just wanted to ruin everyone's pick'ems. They completely just, I don't know. I don't want to say through because you never want to make that sort of a, you never want to make that sort of baseless assumption. But they had a really rough time on the first 2 maps, and they've won 4 maps in a row now since then. Israel, I don't know that this was necessarily the best pick considering how Tai and Painted Koala end up doing. Though Painted Koala actually recovered okay, but with Tai having as much trouble as he did, like if you don't have a 4-man roster for an early round map, it shouldn't really be on your radar for a pick. And against a team that pulls out a triple FC, it never really made much difference anyway.
And it's going to be 4-2 United States. They will instantly pick Hidden 2.
Yep. Well, what do we say, before that last pick, right? The hidden score discrepancy in qualifiers was massive between these two teams. USA, I think with their top 2 scorers on Hidden 2 in qualifiers, probably could have 2v4'd Israel.
Oh,
and then some.
We've got a new player in Accelerator for Israel, stating he is here to carry.
So, guess what the only map Accelerator played in qualifiers was?
Let me guess. Hidden. I'm gonna take a wild guess.
He played 1 of 11 maps in qualifiers. It was Hidden 2, and he was their top scorer on it. And
there's Galog. All right.
And we get Galog in. Let's go. All right.
No, this is Israel's plan. They didn't pick him because they wanted the Americans to eventually pick it so they could get another break point. They've just activated their trap card. That's what's happening.
You are huffing some mad copium right now, my guy. I am here for it. I am here for it because, I would love for Israel to get another point, but I just don't really like their chances very much, unfortunately.
Listen, man. Listen. We didn't know what was going on in rounds 1 and 2, all right? it ain't over till it's over. This is a spooky match.
So this Hidden 2 is a very straightforward map. It just happens to be AR8. It's got, some streams, it's got some aim. It's a classic Nissan AR8 Hidden. And I think honestly if it was going to be any Hidden 2 for Israel to have any sort of chance in, it might as well be this one, where the reading component isn't quite as high as it might be in a later round with tons of perfect stacks and overlaps and things like that.
I think what gets me about this one for Israel more so than the map is the length. Just over 3 minutes, nearly 3.5 minutes. You have to be well-versed in the mod to stand a chance here against the United States, but they have shocked us already twice this match. Do they have another ace up their sleeve?
I wouldn't put it past them to be able to play this map, at least to some degree, but what that degree is going to be the question. You see, Taquito, the hidden specialist in, you see Utami, who's great at reading, Bashi, who's partially on the team for this type of map. So USA's roster, pretty scary on this pick. Israel's going to have to put up their absolute A game if they want to have a shot. But hey, they've done it twice, right? Why not a third?
So far, everyone looking good. The U.S. just leading off of accuracy alone at this point. Utami does drop, so combo advantage Israel. But that accuracy will be keeping the Americans in the lead for now. That combo advantage, though, is going to start to drag things. Israel in front. Quarter of the map gone. Tai. First miss for the Israelites.
And that was just a straight miss aim, too. I mean, it was just a little back and forth jump pattern and he did. He may have misread it and thus aimed wrong. Hard to say exactly, but that was a really unfortunate way to break at that point in the map. But it's still 3 FCs to 3, so I mean, this is still balanced.
Look at these accuracies. TyTy and Boshi both seem to be struggling a little bit in terms of accuracy. TyTy just more so than Boshi, so we may have to keep our eyes peeled for a miss. Halfway mark coming up. Accelerator goes down. Oh no.
Missing in the slow section halfway through has been the downfall of Israel at least once. Remember back to that Hard Rock 1, and it's TyTy and Accelerator. You know, who was the one to break in the middle in the slow section on Hard Rock 1? It was TyTy. Unfortunately, gonna happen to him again here.
Those slow sections with Hidden, man, they just give you a false sense of security, and you lose track of that beat for a split second, you have missed. And this Accelerator going down now. It looks like Israel, they put up such a good fight here in the first half. Galag still playing phenomenally, as well as Mr. Potato. But with a quarter of the map left, and that score deficit growing, Israel is going to need a miracle. They are going to need a complete meltdown from the United States.
Yeah, it has to be a 4-way reset for USA. That's about the only possible chance for Israel at this point. There's not a lot of time left. There's going to be running out of combo. And with Galag breaking one of their remaining 2 FCs, that's pretty much going to seal the deal for the Israelis, unfortunately.
And Mr. Potato
falls as well.
That will do it. Israel, though, they came, they saw, they destroyed everyone's pick'ems. But the United States are going to come back with 5 unanswered and take this one away. 5-2, the final score. A very respectable performance from Israel today.
Yeah, I am incredibly impressed by what we saw from Israel on those first couple of maps. Taking 2 points against the overwhelming tournament favorite #1 seed 4-year-in-a-row champion United States is no small order.
And in the same fashion both times, at the last possible second, getting half of those first 2 maps, really something to cheer about. And I'm sure it'll be a great moment for them to go back and relive. But the United States are your winners. They will move on to play the 17th seed Singapore in the round of 16 next week. Israel will play Japan in the losers bracket.
You feel for Israel, man, putting up that kind of show against the United States and being met with Japan in their first match in losers. And I just want to say real quick, the way Singapore played today against Japan versus the way the United States played in those first few maps against Israel, USA's gotta step things up, or they're going to be in trouble earlier in the tournament than they've been in trouble in a long time.